welcome everybody to our second interview for COIL Con 11 remote convention. I'm Mike Hale, and I am proud to have on the call with me a good friend of mine, Jon Cremeans. Jon and I have known each other a long time. We've known each other for what, Jon, 17, 18 years?
At least, yes.
Yeah. We have a lot in common. Of course, a love for Joe's, needless to say, but a lot more in common. We both have two children. I've got two boys. He's got two girls, and they are like months apart as far as their ages. I thought it was really weird that happened.
Yeah, your wife was actually going to beat mine, and she ended up going early. So.
Yeah. And my wife went very late. I remember a BotCon that we were getting my wife Stephanie to walk around, and I just keep walking
Right.
Cincinnati, trying to get her to go into labor, but it didn't work.
Right.
So Jon is also the owner of Cremeans Creations, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. I'm excited to talk about that. But Jon, tell us a little bit about yourself. When I was thinking of people I wanted to talk to people that really were an integral part of the Joe community, but maybe they just didn't know as much about. So if you would tell us a little bit about yourself and, what got you into Joe's, maybe, what was your first Joe?
Wow. What got me into Joe's? They were very popular when I was a kid. I remember the Christmas, my parents got me and my two brothers. I have an older brother and a younger brother. The JCPenney's Adventure Team sets. My older brother got the Training Tower. I got the Sandstorm Survival, and my younger brother got the Troubleshooter.
A lot of the people watching right now, you're probably speaking a foreign language to them. So, so your first Joe wasn't 3 3/4 inch, right? It was a 12.
No, they didn't have a 3 3/4 inch GI Joe when I started collecting. My first Joe was the 1970 Sea Adventurer, and I still have him proudly displayed with the Joes right now.
So that's something you and I share in common. My first Joe was a hand-me-down 12-inch Joe from my older brother. So I was born in 72, and in 72, I mean, that's GI Joe was 12 inches tall.
Yeah.
So I take it that, and I already know the answer to this, but I take it that you're a avid 12-inch collector, and you don't really care too much for the 3 3/4 inch, right?
I would say that's a false statement. I'm one of the oddball collectors that I was born in 1971, and I was just old enough to get into the 12-inch Joes. I remember buying the 8-inch Super Joes at Children's Palace, and was old enough to have a paper route. Well, my older brother had the paper route when the 3 3/4 inch Joes came out. So we had that disposable income at that time. So we were big into Star Wars, obviously, for being the 70s children.
Yeah.
But I was old enough to have the Adventure Team, but still young enough that when the little guys came out, I could still buy play with the 3 3/4 inch Joes.
So who was your first 3 3/4 inch?
My first 3 3/4 inch was two of them, Grunt and Flash. I got them both at the same time.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you a question about why Grunt, because my first 3 3/4 inch was Breaker. And the reason that I got Breaker is because I thought he looked so similar to the Adventure Team guys. Because he had the beard, very plain costume. So why Grunt?
If I think back and remember correctly, it was a long time ago. I didn't have much choice. My older brother had the paper out, and he was buying. And I want to think that was the only figures they had that he wasn't buying. So I remember he got like the Ram and the Vamp and Scarlet, and you know, he got all of the cool, and left me with Flash and Grunt.
Still two good figures.
Oh, absolutely.
And I can see behind you that apparently you still collect today, because I see the Classified series, and I can barely see over, looks like your right shoulder, I can see the Walmart retro figures.
Yep.
So how fun have those been to try to get a whole collection of both of those?
It's been an ordeal. If it wasn't for friends, I probably wouldn't have any of them. Pretty much, yes. It's a funny story that I've only personally seen maybe 6 figures in the store. Mm-hmm. All my come from either friends picking them up or getting them from one of our other buddies, Aaron, from Roma Collectibles. But yeah, they're hard to find around here.
That's awesome. So we're going to get into how most Joe fans and collectors know you in a minute, but I did want to talk about COIL Con for a minute, because you have been around and helping with COIL Con since the very beginning. This is COIL Con 11 years running. Long time to run a show. So how did COIL Con get started? I mean, did it just start out as a big show and kept going from there, or how did
it was it started more than 11 years ago. The actual show itself was 11 years. But there was a couple years prior to that, from the Devil's Due boards, meeting guys on there that were local, and then just getting together. Remember someone set up a meet down in Cincinnati at one of the restaurants, and there was decent people that went to that. So then they, tried to get that to be an annual event. Like, hey, let's get together for dinner. 2 or 3 of those happened, and then we started talking about getting like a local club, because there were so many of us in the Dayton, Cincinnati area. And then we have a couple guys from Indianapolis that would come over to the meetups and whatnot. And then Todd from Kokomo Toys offered up his front yard for a meet and greet.
Right. Yeah, because he had his shop. Didn't he have it like attached to his house?
Yeah. So the first year we did that was the 11 years ago now. It was just basically a meetup, swap meet, get together, cook out. I think like 30 people showed up, which was just a little more than what we'd had before at the restaurant gatherings. And then with Jay Hunger and a couple of the other guys, decided we ought to start doing this, and we went with the COIL name because of not G.I. Joe. We, most of us are Cobra centric fellows. But
so explain the COIL real quick. Some people may not know what the COIL is.
The COIL started out as a fan club, basically. Like I said, it was guys from Cincinnati, Dayton, Columbus, Indianapolis, Fort Wayne. We had guys all over the place, and we wanted to get a local chapter of the G.I. Joe Collectors Club together. And the COIL name was actually a group out of Chicago that were a couple of our friends, but they own the boards and whatever. Mm-hmm. And then when the name we had didn't pan out well, we decided to go with the COIL, because it was like a club of Ohio, Indiana, something, so the COIL thing, that's where we kind of came up with that, try to get that to work out. Everybody liked it, so we got a hold of those guys and said, hey, can we use your name?
Yeah, wasn't it kind of like it was a club of Ohio, Indiana, and like the Louisville area?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because there was a
And
couple down
and
that way.
for those that don't know, the COIL in Joe Mythos was actually an offshoot of Cobra that
Right,
was pretty much led by Serpentor and then the Crimson Twins.
right, right. So we got that going. We stayed at Todd's place 2 or 3 years, and then he was moving to where his current store is downtown Kokomo, and there wasn't any room to do a big show because it had morphed into more of a show. We had dealers, we had tables.
Right.
Todd would get a big circus tent put out in his yard. And we, with him moving and us wanting to get bigger, we decided, if we're going to do a show, let's move into a hotel. So we looked at Indianapolis, found a place, and then just started looking around and kind of found a home in Dayton. So we've had it in Dayton ever since.
Awesome. So I'm going to share some pictures, John. We'll kind of, walk you through these real quick. But, I mentioned at the top that you're the owner of a company now. We're going to get to this in a minute, but you've been into cosplay for quite a while, correct?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to share a picture with you here in a second that is probably going to jar some memories for you. And I want you to tell us a little bit about it. But yeah, I cannot get the picture to advance. There we go. So is this your old logo or new logo?
That is a new logo that I am using on certain things just as a branding item.
I can kind of see the resemblance.
Yeah, good.
So like I mentioned a minute ago, you've been into cosplay for quite a while. So why don't you tell us about this little picture right here?
All right, that picture is from a 1995 Wizard magazine costume contest, Halloween costume contest. I had entered those costumes, and those costumes.
Which ones are yours, John?
Which ones? What?
Which ones are your costumes?
They're all my costumes.
They're all yours. Awesome.
Yeah, those are actually all me in those costumes. The oldest costume on there is the Cobra Trooper. Me and my buddies used to have those outfits back in 1988, 89. We would do Athens Halloween thing. We'd go down to Dayton, University of Dayton's Halloween thing. So yeah, we've been cosplaying since like 1989. Like I said, these outfits I made them for a live action G.I. Joe movie that we had made back in.
Ask about that.
Okay. Back in 91.
So you have the first live action G.I. Joe movie. Is it still available to watch?
Yeah, it's up on YouTube.
What's the name of it?
It's called Scales of Injustice. And it's
did it win any Oscars?
Yeah, no, not maybe an Oscar Mayer wiener, but that's about it. It's on there. It's on YouTube, and it's a two-parter because it's an hour long.
Awesome. So let's talk about this picture just a little bit more. So this was in Wizard magazine, correct?
Yeah, 1995.
Halloween contest. Did you win?
I won the Way Too Much Free Time Award.
And what did you get for that?
I got a couple signed comics, some cards, an animation cell signed by Stan Lee, and then I received the entire line of the Sergeant Savage and the Screaming Eagles.
So something that nowadays people don't want.
Sure. I have 3 full sets of those, so.
All right, so let's get it. I actually like the line. I think it's pretty cool.
But That Destro outfit, I wore to the 1994 GI Joe convention in New York City on board the USS Intrepid.
Nice.
And me and my cousin who wore the Cobra Trooper outfit, were the only two people in costume.
So you're telling me that you started the entire Joe Con costume contest?
Sure, you said that, but yeah, until we can get documentation otherwise.
Well, let's get into the costume contest, because I think most people that went to Joe Con, they probably know you from the costume contest, but they may not know that it was you. So I wanted to share some pictures with you and maybe jar some people's memories if they're wondering, hey, I may have heard the name before, but, who is that guy? So you are part of the mastermind process behind this.
Yeah.
So all of James' costumes, you two worked hand in hand in making them, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
So tell us about that process as I flip through some of these pictures, and if you want to talk about it a little bit, but how did that work out?
We have come to call those the Kavanaugh specials. They are the cheapest, quickest, most detailed, fun costumes that I could come up with. This one, the Raptor one, the head is actually reused from a Shredder costume I made my cousin's kids. I happened to have it sitting around, and he was like, I need a Raptor head. So I was like, all right. So threw that together in like an hour or two.
One thing I've noticed about all the costumes that you did for James, so did he come with you with the ideas, and then you just, let your creative...
It got to that point. Now that was actually the second one we did. The first one we did was the Crystal Ball in 2005. Is that right? Minneapolis?
Yeah.
And that was, we used a hotel towel for the fur collar. And it was a quickie. But no, typically what it was is we would brainstorm, me and him would be talking. I mean, I talked to that guy probably every day, literally every single day, for years. And once JoeCon come around, it was, what are we going to do this year? And he would, we just bounce ideas back, back and forth. And we tried to get the goofy figures. I mean, we had Ball, and then we did Raptor, and then
let's go through some of the ones that you did, because I can tell you that, I mean, I've been to countless JoeCons, and I think besides probably the Collector Club panel where they're releasing what was going to happen next year, and maybe the Hasbro panel, probably the thing that was always talked about most is, what is James going to do this year?
Right.
And you were a huge part of that. So, yeah,
that was 2007.
So James told me a story that you almost took his eyeball out with your wing.
Yeah, that was a bad one. Those wings that Nemesis Enforcer has were spring loaded, and when we walked into the room, I was to release them, and he happened to just be standing really close and almost took his eye out with the hook.
And that's Jay Hunger in the Royal Guard, correct?
Yeah,
I had the opportunity to potentially wear that, and I gave it to Jay because now, if I remember right, Jay couldn't see really anything in that costume.
No, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like I said, these costumes were meant to be cheap and quick.
And get a lot of laughs and smiles.
Absolutely. But I tried to get, I tried to get detail in them too, so it wasn't just,
No, there's not a lot of detail going into this one.
No. Funny thing is, if you look at it,
looks like a child's leotard.
It is.
So
Um,
I imagine that you did the helmet.
yeah, and that's actually a fiberglass helmet. Yeah.
We've seen enough of that one.
Yeah. Lovely.
Yeah, that's a really good one right there.
Lots of laughs.
How about that one right there? That one was super detailed. I mean, a lot of work went in. Is that one of the harder ones that you did?
Yeah. And I wasn't able to go to that show. So it was a lot of prep and then relying on him to put it together for the show. But I think it turned out as well as it's supposed to have.
Yeah, James and I had a good conversation about this one, and especially that like Sunday
Yeah.
during the panels, then Roadblock was left behind, and he sat in all the panels.
Nice. Yeah, I still have that out in the garage, so.
No, tell us about this one. This was one of the more unusual ones, and
Yeah.
it was one of my favorites. And just as a little plug there, if you look in the far background of that picture, that is my son. That's Mercer in the background.
So what this one was, it became a competition, like a good competition
Mm-hmm.
with James and a couple of the other cosplayers. And it got to a point where it was getting more difficult to come up with something really good, but still get the laughs, because that's what it was all about. It's the show for him. It wasn't about the quality of the outfit.
Yeah.
It was more about the show.
Mm-hmm.
So what we did on this one was decided to come in as a 4-inch FSS figure. So everyone would think that we were going into the 4-inch Real American Hero competition, because they broke it up into different ones, the 12-inch, 4-inch, and kids or whatever.
Kids, yeah.
So we come in with this and got everybody thinking, oh, who's he going to be? Who's he going to be? And when we peeled the mailer off, do you have that picture? He ended up being a 12-inch Dr. Isotope. So we actually entered the 12-inch competition. Well, Brian Savage didn't know any of this because we didn't like to tell anybody ahead of time what it was. And he thought James was going to be a 4-inch. So he put them first, not knowing that he was a 12-inch. So he made him sit in that box for hours. Like,
yeah, in my other interview, James and I had a really good conversation about that. How we're pretty sure Brian Savage tried to murder him.
I think so, yes.
Or at least torture him. Really
Brian actually called James on my phone so James could talk to Brian, and I don't know the conversation they had, but
if you want another conversation they had, watch the other interview.
All right. But no, that was I hand painted that box. It was an old refrigerator box actually that you got me from Lowe's.
Yep.
So that was a fun one.
Cold Slither.
Yeah. That was the one that they banned group competitions for.
Because it was too good.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun.
So give a quick plug. Who were your Cold Slither members there?
All right. Jay is Ripper. I'm Torch. My wife Michelle is the groupie Zarana. And then James is Zartan. And then George is Buzzer.
Excellent.
That was a really fun one. We looked like we were retired Cold Slither, all fat. And fat and old, getting the band back together. Reunion tour.
So let's talk about, so, I mean, people know you from Joe Con for sure. If they went to Joe Con, they at least saw your costumes because everybody knew everybody was talking Saturday night about James.
Sure.
What they may not know is what you really do, and that you do very intricate, very fine detailed cosplays, props, etc. So if anybody's ever seen this full-size snake armor, and you've made more than one, this one right here has a shooting Nerf arm, correct?
Yep.
And there's actually a person in that, correct?
Yeah, I'm in there.
So this one was actually mobile.
Yep.
So
that was a fun one.
I wanted people to know what you really did, because that is amazing. And you've made more than one now, right?
Yeah, I'm actually working on 3 and 4 right now.
Where's where do the others reside?
One is in a personal private collection, and one is at Kokomo Toys in Indiana.
And I believe they have it set up where you can take pictures with it.
Yeah, yep. And that one there that's in the picture, that's New Orleans. And there's I think there's a video out there of it actually firing the rocket down the hallway.
There is.
That was a lot of fun.
So just wanted to go through something, because I mentioned that you very fine detailed. So if somebody's looking for a Joe cosplay or prop or something like that, do you do that for people?
Absolutely. I do a lot of commission work.
So, I mean, the Alley Viper, I've actually seen this in person. Absolutely amazing detail on it. All full scale. This is not, it's not,
Right.
1/12 scale or anything. This is 1-to-1 scale.
And
Fully
Viper,
wearable.
that I make is, it comes with 2 face masks. That one there in the picture is the figure face mask. It's meant more for display since you can't see through it. And then the other face mask is from the card art, where it kind of swoops down below the eyes, and you can switch it out if you're going to wear it.
Excellent. Toxo Viper.
Yeah, that was a fun one. I like that.
You had this at a few Joe Cons, right?
No, just that one in Dallas.
Okay.
That was a commission piece. So I took it down and had it on display, and then at the end of the show, he took it home. No, that's not Dallas. That's actually Springfield in Illinois.
Yeah, I believe that was Springfield.
So yeah, I had it at 2 different ones.
So I just wanted people to see the level of detail in the costume. I mean, it's amazing detail that you put into it.
Thank you. Yeah. I base a lot of it off the toy. So when you look at them, that's where I get the details from, is typically the toys.
Then your Iron Grenadier outfits. So
yeah, I did. The heavy Iron Grenadier is all me. And then the other Iron Grenadier helmet and face mask is mine. And then Don put together his outfit. But yeah, the heavy Iron Grenadier outfit, that's all me, based off the toy. Well, change the colors to more Iron Grenadier colors, but.
Right. And then we've got Destro.
Yep. Same thing with that one. Since there's that, what do they call it? The Moneybags Destro figure is the same as the Iron Grenadier. I decided to do a gold head Destro for that one. That head is actually the same one from my original costume back in '91.
That's amazing.
So that just, I mean, it shows the durability of my stuff. I try to make stuff last and do quality over quantity. And I like to make the stuff real world feel to it, not cartoony, match the figure perfect. I want it to look like if it was a real thing, that's what it would be. So,
right. So, do you do commissions for people? If somebody wants a costume, can they reach out to you and let you know what?
Absolutely. Just drop me an email or a private message, and we start talking about what you want, and we figure
So
out.
how can they contact you? Like, do you have a web page and a Facebook?
The website is CremeansCreations.com, and also on Facebook is Cremeans Creations.
Outstanding. So, Jon, I really appreciate you talking to us today. I mean, I think it's really cool to share, what you've done in the Joe community, not only with costumes from James, but people have seen your other costumes as far as you've had several winners in the costume contests. And, we don't know for sure, but you may have been the one that started the entire costume contest to begin with.
Maybe. Just a real quick thing. The show on the Intrepid, the show runners, I guess, ushered us into the news conference because they thought we were part of the show.
That's awesome.
So we got to hang out in there. That was pretty neat. And then the other thing I wanted to say was, just blanked on you. Never mind. I'll come back to it in a second.
That's all right. But Jon, I wanted to thank you for being on with me today. Everybody, make sure that if you have any kind of cosplay, prop, costume contest need, reach out to Jon. CremeansCreations.com, Cremeans Creations on Facebook. You working on anything else right now, or is it just cosplay?
No, I just quit my 9 to 5. So.
Oh, you did? Oh, that's a big change. Tell us about that a little bit.
I'm focusing solely on the Cremeans Creations right now. Finishing up a couple big projects, 2 big snakes. Working on 3D printing, parts, props, costumes, pieces, toys, whatever it needs. I've got a comic book that I'm working on that I need to finally get out after a couple of years of stalling on that one. Also do miniature props, display pieces for James' books that he does, the rank and file guides. There are diorama parts in there. I did those parts for him. So if you look at a couple of the backgrounds, those are my miniatures that I did for him on those. So yeah, I got another costume that somebody just reached out for me for their kid. So I don't do just, adult cosplay. It's Halloween costumes, whatever you need.
And you do some garden statues too, is that correct?
Yeah. There's a cement garden statue place in the town just north of me who gets a hold of me whenever they need something painted. So I do some garden statues. If you look at the Cremeans Creations Facebook page, a lot of those are posted on there. I have the progress shots of those. So, but anything else, yeah, I'm open to dialogue.
Excellent. So once again, if you want to get in touch with Jon, CremeansCreations.com, and on Facebook, Cremeans Creations, you can just shoot him a message. He does fantastic work. Jon, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. And once again, thank you so much. And thank you for all that's watching today.
Thank you.
Thanks.